Welcome to the Tony Scott Internet Show. What's going on? Lots going on. So like last night, there was a text around 9 o'clock from CNN was reporting that Tom Jackson, the police chief of Ferguson, was stepping down. I don't know if he was stepping down on his own or he was told step down or be fired. I don't know what the deal was on that. But then about an hour later, he talked to the CBS affiliate in St. Louis, Channel 4 here locally, KMOV, and told them, I'm not resigning. I'm not being forced to resign. If I ever resign, it'll be on my terms, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm kind of paraphrasing part of his statement, but I don't know where CNN got that. But then he came and said that, no, I'm not resigning. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I do know that they named the first, Ferguson had their city council meeting or whatever it was, and they named a person to the citizen review board that they're creating to deal with police issues and citizens of Ferguson. Is a young African-American woman who's I think she's like 20, but she's been out there 81 days, man. She's been on her grind with these protests, and they want to hear from her, and they apparently named her to the post. Speaking of Ferguson Police and St. Louis County Police, they've spent $172,669 since August restocking tear gas, grenades, pepper balls, other civil disobedience equipment that they say they needed. So they have reloaded. I mentioned this yesterday on the podcast that it's not going to be the same unrest from the police perspective as it was the first time. That's not going to happen, and that needs to be understood. Since the height of the protest, the department has spent about $25,000 buying tear gas grenades, 650 of them. Also buying smoke and gas grenades and smoke canisters and what they call a hornet's nest, CS Sting grenades, which shoot out dozens of rubber bullets and a powdered chemical agent upon detonation. They've spent $18,000 on 1,500 beanbag rounds, 6,000 pepper balls, paintball-style projectiles that explode with a chemical irritant when they strike a protester. Something called Livex branded pepper balls, which are billed as 10 times hotter than regular pepper rounds. I didn't know there were levels to that, but apparently there are. They've spent $77,500 on 235 riot gear helmets, 135 shields, 25 batons, 60 sets of shin guards, and other, quote, uniform items, and $2,300 was used to buy 2,000 sets of the plastic handcuffs. $50,000 has been set aside for repair work for damaged police vehicles. But they say they're not going to repair any vehicles until the unrest is over. I'm telling you now, man. The police are not going to stand by and let things happen. They're going to be really proactive, in my estimation, if unrest happens again. You know, the situation, because there's so much strong feeling that Darren Wilson will not be indicted. I told you yesterday that the case where he got accommodation from the Ferguson City Council that involved a felony marijuana bust was dismissed Monday because he didn't show up. You know, when you're a cop, you got to show up, right? The accused has a right to face his accuser, and he didn't show up, and that was the second time, so the judge dismissed the case. NBC News reports that 5 criminal cases have been dismissed because the primary witness, Darren Wilson, did not show up in court. They're saying that he wasn't available. They're not going to take any action against Darren Wilson. I do a show called Men on Everything with Mark Clark and Troy Johnson. And Troy really is like the news head of our show. And he was telling us yesterday that he read that Darren Wilson has apparently changed his appearance dramatically. And is going by another name. And it appears to be so comfortable in this newfound identity that he even goes to Blues hockey games. He said that's what Troy said he read, and That's interesting, I thought. What else is going on? Superintendents of schools, 7 superintendents signed a letter to Bob McCullough, the prosecutor, asking any decision to be announced after 5 p.m. on weekdays or preferably on Sunday night. That'll give them good warning, good amount of time to do what they have to do. Superintendents from Riverview Gardens, the Ferguson, Florissant, Hazelwood, Jennings, Kirkwood, Melville, and Normandy school districts all signed this not petition, but they all signed a letter that they want if there is no indictment, they want the announcement after 5 during the week or preferably on a Sunday night. We'll see. We'll see what comes of that. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is on that, but we'll see. There's also when the unrest, when the Missouri Highway Patrol moved in and they parked their vehicles, and it was like ground zero for police response was at the Buzz Westfall Center, the old Northland, and they seemed to park everything by the Swish Bar and Grill. So much so that, customers didn't really have access to the business. And the owners now say they would like local government, state government, to pick up the tab for the money that they lost during this whole thing because the police set up command right in front of their place. And to me, that's fair. I know Chantel and Corey Nixon Clark, who are very good people. I know them. And am I biased? Probably. But they say they lost about $25,000. And, I went over there when it was set up. And, yeah, it was too much work to have to go to the Swish Bar and Grill as far as, like, maneuvering your car or even walking. You had to walk around because they had it roped off. And so it wasn't a straight shot. You had to walk around and maybe come around the other way. It was just too much. And they had to close because nobody could get to their business. Consequences and ramifications? Yeah, I think that would be only fair. I think. Am I being unrealistic? I don't know. I think they should be given something for what happened. So that commercial rocket, commercial supply ship that was headed for the International Space Station yesterday exploded after liftoff. We all saw it on TV last night. Now, it was unmanned. So they say, to their knowledge, nobody was hurt. There was damage to lots of, staging equipment, things like that. But it was loaded with 5,000 pounds of cargo, including food for the people living on the space station. The last commercial airship, whatever you want to call it, supply ship that went to the International Space Station was about a year ago. So my question is, if they are out of food, how quickly can we get another shipment to those folks? I mean, they hadn't got a food delivery in a year. So, I mean, are they going to be okay? How long is it going to take to get them what they need to live? Man, I don't know if I could do that, man. 6 people for a year. That's all you see is these 6 people. Ain't no going outside. Ain't no going to get a burger. Ain't no going outside to check the mail. Ain't no going outside to get a breath of fresh air or hanging with your homie. Nah, them other 5 people, if you're one of the 6, those are your homies for a year. Or at least a year, to my knowledge. But now it's important also to point out that this wasn't a government rocket ship. This was the government. NASA is paying a private business to keep the space station stocked. And this was the first disaster in that effort, but it wasn't a NASA thing. It was a private business. What was the name of that business? I think it was Orbital Sciences and also the SpaceX company out of California. I think are working together to do that. I'm wondering how quickly they can recover and get these people the supplies that they need. Because if they can't, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be a huge problem. You know what's a huge problem right now is AT&T is being sued by the Federal Trade Commission because they're being accused of throttling your internet speeds. For if you're an unlimited data customer, they're saying it's deceptive and unfair. The FTC said in a press release that AT&T has misled millions of its smartphone customers by slowing down their data speeds after they've used up a certain amount of data in a single month. They didn't make their throttling policies clear enough. You're unlimited data, but when you reach a certain level, we're going to slow it down. You still have unlimited, but it's going to be a little bit more inconvenient for you to use your device. See, there's a fine line between what you and I consider unlimited and what these internet providers and telecommunications company call unlimited. There's a huge difference. I mean, it's really noticeable when you've been throttled. This is why there's a thing called, net neutrality, where we need to keep the internet wide open, and there should be no throttling. We shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that at all. That ain't cool. And if they can do that, they've got to tell you. They've got to tell you, you go up to this point and using your data, we're going to slow you down because it's obvious you're only using it for, watching videos or playing games or whatever. I don't know. But unlimited should mean, to me, they say unlimited for whatever a month. I'd be willing to pay $20 more for true unlimited a month where there's no throttling. It is what it is. It's unlimited. I would be for that. I don't think these companies are for that because they're all about making money. And they want to control the internet. This is why, like cable companies and stuff like that, why, in DirecTV, they're not for the a la carte where customers can pick the channels that they want and not get the channels that they could care less about. I don't care. I don't watch any of the shopping channels. So in my world, I wouldn't pick one if I had an a la carte menu to pick the channels that I wouldn't pick that. That's not my thing. I wouldn't pick a soccer channel. And this is nothing against shopping online or soccer. That's just not my thing. So I wouldn't pick that. I wouldn't pick Spanish channels because I don't speak Spanish. So there's a lot of channels that I wouldn't need. I wouldn't need HBO and all that kind of stuff like that because I don't watch a lot of stuff like that, Because I'm always down here working on content for you. But starting next year, HBO is going to have their app. You will not need a cable subscription or satellite subscription to be able to access HBO with their app. You'll just pay them directly. What the payment will be, I don't know. What will you be willing to pay to have access to their programming on demand per month? What would you be willing to pay? Now, CBS says, for $5.99 a month, we'll give it to you immediately the next day. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? I'm just like, what? When they made that announcement, our programs will be available immediately the next day. So if I want to watch 60 Minutes, I got to wait till Monday. If I want to watch The Good Wife on their app, giving them $6 a month, I got to wait till Monday to watch it. Well, and you don't get the NFL. And you don't get the college basketball playoffs. And you don't get the U.S. Open and all this stuff like that. You don't get any of that with the CBS deal for $6 a month. Oh no! I'm not paying that. If I got to wait a day, because if I'm paying for something, I want it when I want it, right? I want it on demand. When I want it, I want it. I think it's fair that it's made available beginning with the broadcast time that it comes on. Eastern time, right? So if I live in California, I don't want to have to wait till, 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock to watch The Good Wife on Sunday night. I want it when the East Coast gets it. I want the playing field to be, I'm paying you for this. I am paying you for this. Why should I have to do that? But, we'll see what happens with that. There's a guy who called himself Denzel Washington. I'm going to tell you about that in less than 30 seconds on the Tony Scott Internet Show.
Do you want to reach an audience that you haven't tapped into yet and not blow your budget? The Tony Scott Internet Show is new, growing, and available to you. Advertising on the Tony Scott Internet Show is extremely affordable. Contact us at advertise@TonyScottShow.com.
Yes, welcome back to the Tony Scott Internet Show. We got a new Men on Everything up where we're talking about Ebola. Amber Vincent was declared Ebola free. I don't know if you saw her press conference yesterday. She was the one of two nurses who worked with, she was one of two of many nurses who worked with Thomas Eric Duncan, the man who died of Ebola in Dallas, and she herself had it, and apparently she's Ebola free. And I've been asking the question, if there's no cure for Ebola, how is it that you can become Ebola free once you've been, officially diagnosed with having Ebola? How is it that you're cured? I mean, if you have Ebola and then you don't have Ebola, you obviously have been cured, but how can you say there's no cure? And we explained it to you on the Men on Everything show. Just go to Talking 360 at the top. You'll see the Men On. Click that. You'll see Men On. Click that. You'll get the latest episode. And it's available also as a podcast if you want to take it with you. If you're going to be running, jogging, running errands in the car. Obviously, you can't look at video. So you can go that way. So in Murfreesboro, am I saying that right? Murfreesboro, a 21-year-old man was arrested. Weed. He told police he was Denzel Washington. They found marijuana at his apartment on Monday night. 5 people in the apartment, strong odor of marijuana. An officer tried to speak with everybody. And when they got to him, they said, well, what's your name? He said, I'm Denzel Washington. And they were like, no, really, what's your name? I'm Denzel Washington. So, of course, he's on, probation. And, so when you're on probation, if you blow your nose wrong, if you blow your snot on the ground, they're going to charge you with littering. Because you're on probation, they can charge you with anything, right? So, Justin Lisay, who's 21, from Memphis, was arrested on charges of felony drug possession, a criminal impersonation, and violation of probation. He was booked. He's toast, man. He's toast. So he told them he was Denzel. And so they said, okay, all right, Denzel. So he got charged with criminal impersonation, and he violated his probation. You know where he's going. And the police were like, oh, by the way, since you decided to be smarty pants, Mr. Denzel Washington, the other 4 people, we're going to charge them too. I don't know, man. Some people come up with some good ones. There are baby wipes being recalled. Don't know if you heard about this or not, but the baby wipes were distributed October 21st to Walgreens, Sam's, Family Dollar, Fred's, wherever that is, and Diapers.com under the brand names Cuties, Diapers.com, Femtex, Fred's, Kidgets, Members Mark, Simply Right, Sunny Smiles, Tender Touch, Well Beginnings. I'm going to link you. Go to the news page at talking360.com, and I'll link you to the article where you can see for sure if you have them or not. They found bacteria in some lots of the products, and there have been a lot of customer complaints saying, hey, we use this, and this happened, that happened, and so they're recalling them. And if yours fit the bill, then there's information on what to do, and I'll link you over there to the page, again, on the news page at talking360.com. What about the man, his 10-year-old daughter was on social media claiming she was 18. She's like 5'9", Janiyah, and she pretended to be a teenager. She pretended to be 18 years old, and she snagged herself a boyfriend. And then her father, found out about it. And he took things into, he did what dads do, and he made her pose for pictures, and he put them up on her page with her looking like a 10-year-old, ponytails with barrettes, a pink princess backpack, an airbrush T-shirt that said, I'm 10 years old on the front, and I'm a 5th grader, was on the back. And then he captioned the picture, since my beautiful daughter Janiyah wants to be grown and lie about her age, saying she's 14, 15, 16, and 18 years old. She claims to be in love and going with a boyfriend, which is completely against my rules. I uncovered that she has been doing this for quite some time. She also has snuck and obtained social media accounts, also against my rules. So these are the consequences behind her actions. An age-defying T-shirt. Yes, people, she's 5'9". She's 10 years old. Hashtags buddies, barrettes, balls. I don't know what that means, but I'm out of the loop on that one. But I'll post the pictures on the What the What page on talking360.com, so you can see she is a tall young lady. Girl. She's not even qualified to be young. She's a girl. She's a girl. When did being called a girl, when did that become a bad thing? She's a girl. Champ Bailey has decided to call it a career in the NFL. He's a 12-time Pro Bowler. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yeah, probably. He was that good. And the last year or two really hasn't been working out that well for him, injuries, things like that. But he's officially called it a career to take on other career opportunities, maybe in broadcasting. You know, that's one thing I'll say, like the NFL Network, they have a lot of ex-players who are on there, you know, broadcasting and, you know, things like that, being analysts, commenting, stuff like that. Great career move for a lot of people. It's not for everybody, but, you know, if you can make the transition, that's fantastic, I think. Guess who had a bench warrant issued for them for their arrest? Columbus Short. He missed another hearing in LA County Court. He missed a mandatory hearing in his felony battery case related to a bar fight that happened last March. LA County Superior Court, the judge there issued the warrant, also revoked his prior bond and doubled his bail. His lawyer says that Columbus Short tried to make the hearing, but he was bumped from a flight in Atlanta. His lawyer says failure to appear was due to circumstances beyond his control. He said he was trying to make his way to California as of late Monday, but he never made it, and now the judge has had enough. Why is it that celebrities can't make their court dates, but we can? For the most part, we can make. When someone tells us that you got to be in court on this day, we show up. Even if we have to lose our job, we show up. But celebrities, you know, yeah, I missed my flight. Is there another airline where you can go? Can I, you know, I'll get there when I get there. That's what you say now. But then when the judge issues that arrest warrant, you be like, but hold on. What happened was, happens every time. Every damn time it happens. What else is going on? You know, Tiny, T.I.'s wife, Tamika Cottle, she apparently, I didn't even know you could do this, but apparently you can change the color of your eyes. No, not with colored contacts. You can actually change the color of your eyes. Are you aware? I didn't even know that. She had surgery to permanently change the color of her eyes from brown to, quote, ice gray. I permanently changed my eye color with Bright Ocular and loving it. Thank you, Dr. Montasser Manif, for the amazing experience and for making my dream come true. I hated wearing contacts just for the color, and it made my vision blurry. Blessed to say my vision is perfect after my ice gray implants. And goes on to say a couple of other things. Now, she's being heated up because she's saying people are accusing her of self-hatred, that she hates herself, her blackness so much that she had to change the color of her eyes. I don't know what the color of her eyes has to do with her blackness, but I mean, if we're going to go there, I mean, does that mean that if you're not born with blonde hair, no matter what your race is, and you dye your hair blonde, that you hate your race? It's stupid, isn't it? That's ridiculous. You know? If you get breast implants, does that mean you hate your body and your race? If you get booty implants, do you hate your body and your race? I just to make the no. I don't. This self-hatred. So a woman has, you know, like long weave down her back. Does that mean that, you know, if a woman gets her hair, a black woman gets her hair permed or pressed or whatever the ladies call it, does that mean that she hates her race? Self-hatred? Was that what that is? That makes no sense at all. To me, if you want to change the color of your eyes, your hair, if you want to change the size of your bosoms, if you want to change, you notice that most of the time that people say it's self-hatred, it comes from men, because we really can't change anything about ourselves. Well, I guess we can change our eye color if we want to, but we don't have the options. I mean, because we don't need a boob job. We don't need butt implants for the most part. There is some talk that you can get a lace front beard. I've seen pictures of that. That looks ridiculous. I mean, all that is there. But the criticism has always been, if a woman alters herself in that fashion, then she obviously hates herself and hates her race. That's too big of a leap to make, man. Everybody, there again, you put everybody in the same box. Some people do it for different reasons. They want to change for themselves. If for no other reason, that's what they want to do. I mean, and here you are, you're going to put them, you hate yourself and you hate your race. You'll put them in a box like that. That ain't cool. Don't do that. That's because that makes you look small-minded. I mean, because like I said, everybody's different. You can't read someone's mind and determine what they were thinking when they decided to have a procedure done. You can't do that. I like women all natural. So you like them hairy? You like them hairy and I don't know, man. I don't know. It's personal preference, but I don't think you can criticize someone, Now, there are cases like Lil' Kim has had, and Michael Jackson, so much plastic surgery that they just, I saw Michael Jackson in person one time, and the color of his skin wasn't even like, it didn't even look normal, but he did have vitiligo. But I don't know if because there was always rumors, and then I think the word came out that he bleached his skin to make it more even because of the vitiligo, so he just bleached the part that wasn't affected to make it all one shade. But he did look human, Lil' Kim looks nothing like what she looked like when she first came out, which was a pretty good-looking young lady, Now, I mean, I don't think she's ugly. But I think that she looks way different. Renee Zellweger recently has been in the news because she apparently had plastic surgery. She changed the way her eyes were. Her eyes were a little bit more tiny than they are now. Jennifer Grey, who was in Dirty Dancing, she had a nose job, and she doesn't even resemble herself from back in the day. People do things for different reasons, but people like to hate on folks for doing that, which I think is silly, stupid, and I don't know. That's just me. All right, we'll leave it right there. Appreciate you listening to the podcast today. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have time to share this and post it. Give it a thumbs up. It helps. In fact, to be honest with you, full disclosure, I just got Google got in touch with me and says we're going to send you some more money for the people who are watching your content on YouTube and stuff. So I thank you for that. Every little bit helps. All you got to do is watch it, and it adds up. Sooner or later, it'll turn into a check. And, every little bit helps, right? I'm looking for work. I got no income, so every little thing goes to the bottom line. But I appreciate you. I love each and every one of you for what you're doing, supporting me. So I really appreciate that. All right? And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.